The thing about with animations storyboarding is that if you don't draw it, then when they send it out, their animators are not going to make it up. They're just animating what you give them. You know, being a storyboard artist is like you're like this master conductor, right? It's like you have to just make sure everything's working, and then just in sequence.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing animation storyboarding, now you're the actor on top of all the other stuff you have to. The composition, the shot choice you're like, wow.
So you worked for quite a long time doing features, and then I'm interested to know, how did you get into animation, specifically working on Blue Eye Samurai, which is the hit Netflix animated series?
How did I get in? Okay.
Yeah. Did you just apply?
Okay.
Like, because you have to be in the animation guild, I believe, to work on it.
Which is easier. Okay. That one's easier to get into. Anyway, I think anybody can get into that one.
Tell us about the process.
I learned how to do the animation storyboarding by a job that I had the most stability I've ever had. Mm-hmm. You know, as a working artist, and that was with Gore Verbinski had a project, and then within that project, you know, it was stability for like 2 years, right? You know, because he was trying to create. Because he did, you know, he was the one who was responsible for Flamingo.
Okay,
but through that, on that team that he had assembled, and so that's where I became aware of how to do animation or how to make things move, because you had to. It was an animation project.
Okay,
right? So I had to learn that skill set. From learning that skill set, that was foundational for a trajectory afterward. It was just, I wouldn't have been able to do anything like Blue Eye or Magician's Elephant or any of that. Nothing, because it's like it's just the modes of thinking that you need to be in
exactly
to be able to do animation.
Yeah, it's two different skill sets. I mean, they kind of cross over, but there's a speciality that you have to learn to do animation storyboards, and including, I imagine, the software too, right? Yeah. The software is very different.
I was still using Photoshop, but they showed me how to use layer comps,
okay, sure.
to be able to go to make it act like you're doing animation.
Gotcha. So you weren't using Storyboard Pro then at that time? Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had to learn a different piece of software in order to work in animation because of their pipeline.
Storyboard Pro is ideal for that. Is the way they have it set up. It's beautiful. It makes everything so much easier. If you have to do it in Photoshop, it's you are trying to move something into something that doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying? With Photoshop, it's like
it wasn't designed for that type of work, right?
Not at all.
So now you're in 2 unions, right? You're in the Art Directors Guild Union, and you're in the Animation Guild Union. I'm curious, just personally, if you're in 2 unions, do you have to pay double dues, or do they take into consideration that you're already into one? Oh, you do. You pay dues for each one individually. Wow.
Jeez.
Whether you're working on them or not.
Holy
no
cow.
Kidding. But do you already have benefits in one, right? So you don't need the benefits from the other one necessarily.
Yeah, it's just like that's a whole rabbit hole. It's like you have to juggle both of them, and you have to pay in both.
Okay.
You can freeze something, but you still pay. It's we need to look at that again.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not fair.
All right. I was just curious. I thought maybe they took into consideration that you're already in one art union and okay.
No, they just want your money.
Yeah.
So when you actually switched over from doing features to animation, what was the learning curve like in terms of like adjusting your style or pacing or even drawing the style?
Being able to learn it, because we were there for like 2 years, that was the reason why I was able to acquire that skill set. If it was just the regular freelance pattern that I had, I would not have been able to acquire it.
Can you tell us the difference between, let's start with commercials and feature films, and then we'll go from feature films to animation. So if you're storyboarding a commercial and then you're going to storyboard a feature film, what would be the difference? The main differences. It could be time that you have to do it. It can be the detail level, all those things. I'm curious to know.
Commercials and advertising, it's more based on how it looks, at the aesthetic. If it has a cool, edgy style, whatever that is, it has to have high detail, just be clear and be able to communicate it. So, however, somebody can hit those points, right? And if you look at different advertising, it's like everyone's different.
Sure.
Like I'm still able to hit those points and still have a loose, energetic style.
Right. Yep.
But then I incorporate a lot of photographs that I pass through a filter and I add them into it. So it's a collage.
Okay, cool.
Or mixed media. So that works because it falls within the edgy type of thing. So then it works within that structure.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was going to ask if you had any tips and tricks, but that sounds like one that helps to speed up your process.
Yeah, and it's a lower frame count, right? It's a lower frame count, and usually because you're spending more of your time making it look pretty.
Right.
Whereas if you do film and TV, they have these things called shooting boards, where shooting boards are supposed to be really, really loose.
Sure.
Not a lot of detail. You have to be able to draw because you don't have time to sit there and
make pretty pictures. Yeah.
But that's also a style too. So you have to be careful with that because you can get known for doing shooting boards, and that's into your career, which the demands on that are intense, and you have to decide whether you want to accept that. Which is because usually shooting boards mean, well, if you're not drawing really pretty pictures, you can draw more of them. So let's get 60 to 80 frames for the day.
Wow.
And can we do that? Hey, we need you to work all this rest of this week. Can we do that? That, and then so if you just get into the mindset of like, I just need a job, I need money, you know what I'm saying? And then you get known for doing shooting boards, and that's
you're doing volume work, and there goes your wrist. It's
exactly.
I also say that, but I also have to leave room for it's like everyone has like things that they're really, really good at, right? And so if that may be the thing that they're just like that's cool, like they're really, really good at that, you know what I'm saying? And there are places for everything, right? It'd be interesting to see what somebody who's really good at shooting boards and how they would be able to hang and thrive in advertising.
Yeah, right. True.
And they'd have to modify some things, but they would take elements that make good shooting boards. It'd just be, and if they are able to do that, then they'd be in an entire lane. It's job security. You're in an entirely different lane.
Yeah.
No one else can do that. So it's really cool.
Now, if you're enjoying this short excerpt of our conversation and would like to watch the entire full-length interview, then please head on over to our Substack, where you'll also find all of the other full-length interviews we've done in the past with other artists and creators. In addition, we have an entire section dedicated to written interviews, as well as tons of articles with tips and tricks, all to help you become a better visual storyteller.
I imagine, though, that animation has its own structure. Like, you're still drawing a lot of frames. You might be just taking that one frame, copying it, and then modifying the head position or something like that. But it's still a lot of frames because you're trying to show a sequence of motion as opposed to just like a keyframe here, a keyframe there, that sort of thing, right? And then you have to actually show the motion as opposed to indicating it, like you would in feature films with arrows or so forth, correct?
Yeah. With animation, it's more about the character acting. The example I like to use is that, like in film and TV, if the board is a man walks into the room, right? You can just frame it and then arrange things and the shot so they're nice compositionally, and then just leave it. But with animation, you have to show him how he is. How does he move? He has a different movement, like if you're explaining, you're the actor now,
right?
And so that is a different type of thinking. Being a storyboard artist is like you're like this master conductor, right? It's like you have to just make sure everything's working, and then just in sequence.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing animation storyboarding, now you're the actor, right? On top of all the other stuff, you have to the composition, the shot choice is. You're like, whoa. Right? Yes, wild.
So in film, you might, just as an example, you might have 2 frames to indicate a short scene. Animation might be 10 frames because you have to indicate every movement
and every change, change of emotion too. Yeah,
right.
Sometimes usually they'll get away, like in Blue Eye Samurai, they got away with a lot of A, B, and C shots, right? So that just 3, right, to describe what's happening. But then sometimes if you really wanted to get like that, it added, cool behavior.
Yeah.
You might add another frame in there. So it'd be 4 frames.
Right. Nice.
or in 6, so 4 to 6, yeah. But then I guess because some of the animatics there ran out of that, which is so cool looking. You know, like when everyone works, they upload their stuff
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to the server, and then you're able to look at what everyone's doing. Everyone's able to look at what
that's
everybody's
cool.
doing.
Yeah.
And then which is it's very cool, and then it's also like shocking.
Yeah.
Because you get in there, and then I remember one time I got in there and I had to upload something, and there was a sequence. It was like for the week. And it was a couple hundred frames, and then I got curious to start scrolling down, and then looked at this other guy who had uploaded something for the week, and then I looked at the frame count. It was like 300-400, or like, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, how are
Holy
you?
hell.
Is that what we're supposed to be doing? I was like, 400. Like, how do you do? And so he was using Storyboard Pro, right? And so he was damn near animating the sequence, right? I guess that was his background. He was an animator. So, it's just cool. The thing about with animations storyboarding is that you have to draw. If you don't draw it, then when they send it out, their animators are not going to make it up. They're just animating what you give them.
Jeez.
So you have to be able
very binary.
If you want behavior, you have to storyboard the behavior, and then the animator will bring that to life.
That's
the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So,
that's good to know. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that. I think they think the animator's job is to do fill-in betweens, of what's going on and enhance everything.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the storyboard artist, the story artist in that sense, has the more important role, because they're the ones who are actually laying out the entire scene, how it's supposed to be acted, every beat, all that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, how did you end up landing Blue-Eyed Samurai for Netflix? Were you approached, or was there a call for artists, or did you know people?
Yeah. Okay. 2 parts is like, definitely everything is based on relationships, right? And so then that's how you would get to know about things, relationships, and your portfolio. I adopt more of the approach to attract than to pursue, because I haven't had success in to be able to pursue, like to be able to go to submit and then to get any type of attention or notice, right? The way I utilize social media right now is that like I act as a beacon, and so like I'll just keep emitting, I'll just keep uploading, I'll keep showing what I can do, and then so it makes it very easy to know where I go. It's like I make it as clean, so I try to make it so there's not a lot of work that needs to be done. So when you go, like if you take my LinkedIn page, if you go to the LinkedIn page, there's art. It's structured art. Now I've gotten it down to where I have a format, right? And it's like and same with my ArtStation. If you scroll down enough on my ArtStation, you can see how it's just kind of like, it's a little bit more unorganized, but still there, right? But recently I put the show, I just make it very easy, right? And it's the same way on the Instagram. And I just keep doing it. I just keep showcasing. If I'm on a job, if I have stuff, I have an advantage of having a very large archive. But then, like, whenever things are able to be shown, then I'll show those and then package them now into the same format, so it all looks unified. And then if I don't have anything to show, then that's when I can start showing processes or whatever. But the idea is that I'm always showing something. The social media, it's a delivery system, right? It's like
you're feeding
mail.
The beast.
It's like every Well, I mean, when I say like mail, it's a mailbox to everyone who checks it daily, right?
Yeah,
it's like I don't know how many times I check my phone to go onto social media, for something. I just keep repackaging. It's, I guess, in a sense, like a internal gratitude. I'm like, this is what I've done. This is how it worked, and then just to keep doing that.
So somebody found you on social media to hire you for that job, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I was working. I might have worked on the show, and then see what. Also, once you're inside the walls, then they have their internal hiring system. So now they're aware of you. And so, in order to get inside the walls, it's also through relationships, because it's like if you're on a project and then someone is very aware of what you can do, and they're on that project, they're like, "What's up with Charles on what is he?" I just saw him post this thing, like this is exactly what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? See if he's available, that type of thing. that's why the constantly just keep, because you're like showing what else you're you're showing, attracting. Like
Right.
now, it's like I just keep updating, skills. Don't stay in one place.
Sure.
But that's an internal thing. It's like you have to kind of like, where am I going?
Sure.
Going back to like, that's the habit formed, from like, from the what we were talking about earlier. It's just like I'm always doing that. I'm like, where are we going with this, right? And then so just knowing new things. Like now, I have incorporated 3D into my workflow.
Oh.
I had to learn Blender it was slow. Everything's slow, when you start. So now I learn it. So now it's like when I do a part of my workflow, when I get a scene, I'll go make it.
Nice.
Like I'll go make the environment. And before it took me a week and a half to make an environment. Now I can do it in 2 hours.
That's great.
Right. But it was like, it's just being able to commit to it and then just be okay with the process of it. And then just every day, just be a little bit better on it. And eventually one day it's like, you won't even notice that you're just breezing through it.
Yeah. You created a go-to pipeline that you can use time and time again. That's great. It sounds like you're really creating your own serendipity by always posting, by always showing different things that you can do, that on any given day somebody will see something and it triggers them to think, oh, hey, we got this other project coming up, and that's how you've been able to stay in the game. So like, how long did you end up working on Blue Eyed Samurai? For the entire show or one episode?
No, they just just got hired for a couple scenes.
Okay.
And that's pretty much how it usually is with projects.
Wow.
It's like the longest one was before. That was the 2 year. That was just a beautiful highlight. Met so many cool people, so many awesome memories with everyone there. Just seeing how everybody just kind of grew in that system. But for the most part, my jobs go from either a day to 2 days to maybe a week to maybe 2 weeks to 3 months. Maybe that's usually not, but that doesn't really go past that. And then be okay with that, right? So they usually hire me to do a few scenes because right now I can do complex scenes. And then after that, then they move on. I move on.
The life of a storyboard artist.
Always.